Okay guys, welcome back to the Graphics Guy. Today we're going to be looking at the 2019 Ordinary Level Section A short questions. So, the question is insert missing lines in the elevation. So I'm just going to project across some of the key ones. Now, just to have a look there, we're missing the top of the block weight here on the left. We are missing these two here, where the slope begins, so just project it across that height there. So that's where it changes from being vertical to sloping back. And finally, I've got to bring across the round handle, so I'm just bringing the bottom and the top of that. Heavy those in. And that is that one sorted. Now, just a reminder, answer 10 questions. Now I'm going to answer all 15, but on the day of the exam you only need to do 10, but maybe it's better to do a couple of spare ones. Now question 2, in the space provided, do a freehand sketch of this. Now I would recommend doing what's called crating, that we draw this as if it was inside in a rectangular box. So the proportion here, so I'd be guessing there that like it's about roughly, it's roughly a square base, maybe a little bit longer in one side. Alright, so this is going to be our width, this is going to be our depth, and our height is going to be here. And the height is just a bit longer than the other two. So that's going to be our crate. So I'll just box that in. Okay, so that's our 3D box that we're going to use that now to help us to draw this shape. So that's coming out about halfway here. Then this goes up vertically. I'll just draw the light first and then heavy it in. And then we've got this P shape that should be going to about here. So there's the shape of that there at the end view. So just take that heavy across here. Now, if the back, the end of this is going to be the same angle, so I'm just measuring, getting the feel of the angle, and then going parallel. Now, here now is where the tip of the P would be there. And you wouldn't quite see all the P now, so I'll just leave it at that much of it. And that then is going up vertical until it disappears. So just to colour that in, I might just darken that down here. Just put the end in a different colour, brighten it up a little bit. And finally what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put a surface underneath this, just something like that. It's a nice little trick to make these look a little bit more realistic. And there we go, that's a coloured pictorial sketch done freehand. Now, question here then, we've got an advantage and a disadvantage of a laptop. Now the advantage of a laptop is that it's portable and disadvantage is can be stolen or dropped or damaged. Now there's no problem with writing in, you know, an extra answer or two, and it's portable and it can be charged. So if your electricity was out or something like that. Question 4. We need to complete the enlarged logo. So basically you've got ABCD here and just a bigger version of it here. So looking there really quickly, we've got an X, that's the center for, or sorry, the center for the curve is down here. So I'm going to draw like a plus through the center. And what I can see there then is this diagonal here gives me that point there. So that there is the vertical for that kind of a box rectangular thing down there, and I'll just draw another diagonal then over here. So that there. Now, the next thing I'm going to do there then is this arc, because we can see here now that there is the center for the arc, and the arc goes through the top of the square. So I just set my compass to that. Just draw that arc there, heavy it in, and that joins back down into the sides here. And that's a larger version of this. Okay, now question 5. You're told that that line PT here is a tangent to the ellipse. Okay, so PT is a tangent to the ellipse. So it tells you what you've got to do is to find the focal points. So half the major swung from the end of the minor gives us the focal points. So I'll just mark that there, F and F1. And what you need to do there then is join to the focal points. And we need to bisect this angle here with our compass. So again, do it good and big, don't do it too small. So 2 arcs, 2 more arcs the same size, and this is our tangent. Now I just need to extend that light, extend the center line over here light, and that gives us there then where they intersect. Okay, so question 5. Now for these question 6s, where you've got an isometric grid, so you're going from a 2D front view and a top view, but notice that this is like a horizontal and vertical, and this is an isometric 3D grid. I think it's very important there to count the boxes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so it's 9 and 5 is 14 is the full length of this on the ground, and then it goes up 1, 2, 3. So we know it comes in 5 and it slopes back down. So it's 14 boxes, but note I'm now putting these at an angle, okay, because this is a 3D grid, so I want 14, so I'll count them first. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Okay, so that's my 14 coming along here, and it goes up 3 boxes high. Now it comes in then 5. So there's our 5, and finally then slopes back down to here just by joining the dots. Now that's the front view of it done. Now just to kind of help your understanding with there, I'm going to colour in the front of this here yellow. So we now have this yellow surface drawn. Now in the top view, that yellow surface would be here. So you can't really see it when you're looking down from above. Now if I decided there then that this flat piece here was blue. Now this goes back for, it's too deep. The shape there is too deep going back. So I'll just apply that too deep here. And there. So that there is our horizontal surface on top. And finally, this is the slope coming down here. So I'm going to put red on the slope. blue for the horizontal up here. Okay, so there we go. Now question 7. What you're asked to do there is write down the area of the glass there in a square unit. So basically these come up every year, it's counting the squares. So a fast enough way to do this anyway is I'm going to count there. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that would be 20, 30, 40. So that takes care of all of those. Now what you can do then, your choices are, you can count every one that's more than half as a full one, and anyone that's less than half, you ignore it. So that would be 41, 42, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 48. And that's more than half then, so I say 49, 50, 51, 2, 53, 54. So I would say 54 for that. So if it's got more than half, you count it, and if it has less than half, you don't count it. So 40. Now question 8 here. Using the scale provided, measure and write down the dimensions A and B of the skateboard shown. Now, the thing here is you've got to use this scale and you've got to work from the 0. So what you want to do is get your compass, get this length for A and be accurate. Now, and swing it from the 0. So we can see there that off the scale, distance A is 200 millimeters. So A is 200. And the same thing then for B, get your compass, set your compass to measurement B, swing it from 0. So you can see there that's between 10 and 12, which is 1100 millimeters. Now question 9 here is choose the correct elevation from the elevation I was looking from the direction there of the arrow. So if a person was looking in there, what would they see? Now one way you could do this is you could number them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the first row, and on the second row then you've got 6 and 7, 8, 9, 10, then 11 and 12, 13, 14 and 15, and then maybe 16 over here. So that's one way that you could do it. So we know anyway that we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the first row. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you would have 6 should be here. So it's not that one, it's not this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So that is it. And obviously it's not D either because you don't have the 6 sticking out here. So the answer is C. Now question 10, what we've got to do there is complete the drawing of the hook by drawing a tangent from the center point P to the circle C. So it's a tangent from P to C. So what you've got to do is bisect from P to the center of that circle. We're just drawing arcs. So that here is M from midpoint. That's the midpoint between P and the center of that circle. And what we want to do then is put our compass here, set it, draw a semicircle, and this here is point P, the tangent point. So when I draw my tangent here now from P, okay, so that there is the tangent point. Now question 11 there, then it says CAD commands. So the commands that would bring us from that to that would be chamfer, and then that would be sketch a rectangle, and finally it would be an extrude. Okay, just to extrude them out there, or maybe push pull, depending on what software package you have. But so yeah, that's going to get you those. Now question 12 there. Okay, so it's write down the number of blocks required to complete the wall shown by the broken lines. Okay, now the thing is here now, if I just count this, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks. There's 5 full blocks in every row. So, but because they're staggered, you've got 4 full ones and 2 halves there, or 5 full ones here. So basically, if there's 2 halves there, it means we're missing 4 full ones in the top row, and we're missing 3 on the second row, because there is 2 full ones there, and we've got 1, 2, and 2 halves, 3. So we're missing 2 on this row, and I'm missing 1 on that row. So that's going to be 4 and 3, 7, 2, 9, and 1 is 10. Okay, so there would be, if I was to be putting them in there, there would be 1 full one here, 2 there, 3 on this row, and 4 on the top row. So 10 blocks. Now question 13. So you're asked to complete the logo by drawing a line at 50 degrees at point A and 65 degrees at point B. So I guess it's really a test of using a protractor. So there's our protractor. We're going to center the protractor at A. Okay, now the angle at A is 50 degrees. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So I'll just draw that angle out there. $50. Now, the angle at B was 65, as we can see from over here. So I'll just zero that in there again at B. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 65. And you can see there. So all I need to do there now is just to heavy that in. Now I'm using pen here on camera, but I would not recommend using pen in the exam. Just in case you make a mistake and you want to rub it out, better off using pencil. Now question 14 is a perspective question. Now you want to be looking carefully at the pictorial, because the pictorial always gives you clues. And what they're telling you here is if you do the diagonals, it is going to give you the center point for the doors on the fridge. So what we want to do there is just draw the diagonal nice and light. So that there tells us where the door of the fridge is meeting here. So that's the door of the fridge done. Now what we need to do now is give it the thickness. So we're going back to our vanishing points here. So that's coming back as far as there. So is this. So the side of the fridge is back here, but what we just need to do now is extend the top of it over to find this point here. So now we know the definite size of the top of the fridge. And finally then we can just come down vertically and I'll heavy that in. And there's our fridge. Now finally there then, question 15 is a xylophone. So what we want to do there, it's a musical instrument, but what we want to do is count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we need to break this body there because there's 8 buttons here on the main body, not counting these two. So we need to divide this into 8. So what you want to do there is mark off 8 equal spaces at any angle. So I'll just go in tens, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. So that's our 8 equal spaces down here. Now the next move then, we want to join number 8 to the end of the line here. And that there now is our angle. And what we want to do there then next is we want to bring all the rest of these lines up at that angle. Okay, so I'm just going to set that up there. It's perfect. So that is the angle. So I want to go parallel now through all those 8 dots. So just mark these lines up parallel, and that is going to divide our xylophone into 8 equal distances. Perfect. Now the next move then is I'll just draw in all those rectangular boxes. Like that. So that's all our rectangular boxes there, and finally there it says colour or shade in the completed drawing. Now seeing as there was 1, 2, 3, 4 of them coloured in, I'm going to just copy the colouring of that. So that one and this one. And the first two over here as well. So one thing is very, very important when you're going into your Junior Cert exam, to have colouring pencils, compass and protractor as well for doing angles, but definitely the colouring pencils, because there's going to be a few questions where you're asked to do some colouring. So I hope that's of benefit to you. Enjoy.